let's move on.
How are you, brother?
Hi.
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Not too bad.
Good.
Hey, this question actually is mostly for my sister Tracy, and it kind of deals with the souls thing. You guys are from Texas. I don't know if you've noticed there are some fairly conservative parts of that state. Do you ever, considering the content of the show, have you ever gotten any protests or blowback from conservative Christian groups?
You know what's funny is that I think, so he and I, my mind goes back to, we did an episode, it was originally called Angels, I think. It's like Angels, then Touched, then Houses of the Holy. I think it became Houses of the Holy. It was our first ever episode with an angel. And Jensen and I, to say nothing of whatever our beliefs are, either politically...
It was the first biblical reference in the show.
But politically or religiously, I think he and I both were like, we're here to tell a story, not to be one side or the other. So I, sitting here today, not to say anything of my political or religious standing, I don't know if Sam is a Republican or a Democrat or a Christian or an atheist or an agnostic or a Muslim or a Buddhist. Whether or not Sam and Dean are Christian, they're still fighting for a lot of the same things, you know, trying to do unto others, trying to, well, I think we kind of break the thou shalt not kill every now and again.
For good reason.
But for good reason. And so I think that's one of the things I love about this show is that it inspires really rigorous debate and true thought. Because you can see these guys, and I believe Sam and Dean, they've had their ups and downs, but I believe they're good people. So whether you are Christian and they are not, or whether they are Christian and you are not, it's not a religious show, even though we have angels and demons and Lucifer and God, who was just up here a second ago.
Singing Journey.
Yeah. It's more a show about what can we do as flawed human beings to make the world a better place.
And I think that there were stories and characters that may have been, obviously, that were inspired by biblical text and things like that. But it was never, and this was one thing that, going back to that conversation that we had with the writers when they finally did introduce characters that were based in the Bible, was that we didn't want to be a mouthpiece for ideology from some writer's ideology. That's not what we signed up for. We signed up to play these characters in a world that didn't really exist. Now, sure,
what?
Supernatural, there is certainly supernatural out in the world, but I think we can all agree that the amount of supernatural that you see on our show is probably false. So, I know, take a moment. And so that was expressed to us when they said, they're like, listen, this is just, we're just taking this to another level, and that's the other level. We're in no way trying to make a religious statement, a religious show, any kind of twist on religion. It is, that being said, my grandmother, who passed away a few years ago, a incredible woman, but a hugely devout Christian. I mean, like the white courtesy phone next to her bed, straight up to the big man upstairs. And she watched the show, and she in the beginning, she had her concerns about when they started introducing that kind of stuff. And she said, you know what? I know that this is a story, and this isn't real, and this isn't something that's trying to make a statement, or this is entertainment, and it's something you love to do. And I respect that, and I love it, and I'll watch it to the end of my days, which was a few years ago. Also, in that same reference, I will say that my in-laws are practicing Catholics, and their priest is a gigantic Supernatural fan. Like, so much so that that my mother-in-law asked me if I could give her a piece of memorabilia from the show to give to him, and then videoed his reaction upon receiving it.
Is that why you?
He turned into like a full fanboy.
Is that why you cut my hair that one time and ran away?
Yeah. So I think we're not trying to make any kind of religious statement or any political statement of what we do.
Any more so than Harry Potter or Star Wars. They're not saying there's no God because Voldemort is Satan, not Satan or Lucifer. Just a story, Mike. You know.
Well, thanks for telling such a great story, and I hope you tell it for a
brother, thanks for
lot more
watching.
years.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.